I'm McCauley, and I'm at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. We just celebrated Easter. Now, all of us are familiar with Lent. Lent is 40 days, and, we might give up something, try something new. And even though I faced tremendous loss this Lent, I felt it was one of the most powerful Lents I've ever experienced. But even as a cradle Catholic, I never really thought about celebrating Easter for 50 days. I mean, I knew there was Easter and I knew there was Pentecost, but I never really thought about Easter being a whole season. I'm going to read this. The great 50 days of Pentecost are not a unrealistic obligation to party on, woohoo, I can eat all the chocolate and Cadbury eggs I want and jelly beans. But it's an invitation to explore more deeply the weather of the heart, to awaken our memory of God's presence and power in our lives, to look more closely at all the rich and varied textures of creation. I'm telling you, spring is the time to do that, to look at the buds, the crocuses, the daffodils. It's just a beautiful time to look at what God has given us. The church starts reading the Acts of the Apostles, which talks about the earliest days, the beginnings of our faith. And you know why it works so well? Do you know why so many people became Christians and were willing to die some martyrs' deaths? Because it's true. Because Jesus did die. Jesus did rise from the dead. It's true. Do you think people would be like, yeah, I'm going to die for this because it's some quack thing we made up? They were willing to die, to sacrifice, because it is true. And all of this should be an encouragement and a sign of hope for us today. When you lose people that you love, you can either go into a state of despair, as many of you know, or you can look at it with hope of being reunited with those people that we love so much. Without that hope, life to me would be meaningless. I don't know about you, but if I thought we lived, we died, zip, nothing, I'd be out like, it just would be meaningless. God has not abandoned us. Despite war, violent struggles, the risen Savior is still with us. These 50 days of Easter ask us to reflect on His presence, even in the face of danger or fear, and live with joy. And that brings us into weight loss. It's eat less, move more, pray. During these next 50 days, I really want you to think about hope. Have you lost all hope of ever losing weight? I have to be honest with you. Even though I facilitate this group, I really had lost a lot of hope. I said, you know what? I think I've just gotten to a point and I'm not going to change, and no matter what I do. But God wasn't done with my journey. He wasn't done with showing me that if I kept trying to learn and kept trying to experiment, kept trying to look at things and study things, I'm encouraging all of you to try and find the hope, whether it's with this diet plan, that diet plan, whether it's with this exercise, because the world's greatest weight loss program is useless if it is not energized by hope. So many people who are older too, and I mean like 60, 70, 80, 90s, they just have given up all hope. And they stopped trying a long time ago. They figure, I'm going to be dead anyway, I might as well eat what I want. But with that kind of philosophy, especially if you have that philosophy at 60, are you going to need knee surgery? Are you going to need hip surgery? Are you going to want to go to Europe with your kids and walk around? Carol Ann's just a couple of years older than me, and she did a 6-mile walk today. She went to Europe with her family and walked 1,000,000 miles and gained no weight. She is a role model. So many of you are role models. Jean, who lost 50 pounds and kept it off, she could have said, hey, I'm just going to sit on the couch and retire and watch The Price is Right, you know. Higher, lower, higher, lower. No, she didn't do that. She's out, busy every day. The problem with giving up is you will not stay at the same weight. If you don't change your eating and your fitness lifestyle, you'll continue to gain. You think, I'm just going to give up, you'll gain. Now listen, if you only eat 19 extra calories a day, 19 everybody, between the ages of 20 to 50, you will have a total weight gain of 60 pounds of body fat. That's how often it happens, slow and steady, one snack at a time. But you know what? And have you ever met anyone who says, my goal in life is to be obese. I want to be overweight. It's on my bucket list. I want to be fat. Nobody wants to be overweight. No one wants to be obese. No one wants that. And yet we allow it to go on in our lives. The older and heavier people are, the greater the loss of hope. That's why this author always says that helping someone regain hope is even more important than a great weight loss program. There are a million. Weight Watchers is one of the best programs out there. There's a million good things. There's a million good things, but if you don't have consistency, hope, then you're not going to consistently keep it off. I think that's what Pray It Off is. Every week we get together, we share our stories, and we give each other hope. I wouldn't let Christine quit because I had the hope that if she just stuck it out. Mary Ellen, the same thing, for years. Now she's a kiss away from her 40 pound. We just can't give up, Pray It Offers. But you got to start with a honest, hard look at yourself. Don't have a hard look at a diet plan. Relax, breathe, and self-reflect. Even if you don't like what you see. I mean, I'd studied my food logs, and I'd say to myself, I'm doing everything right. So I'm having some fat-free creamer. So I'm having some fat-free cheese, a little oatmeal for breakfast. I'm not snacking. I'm not eating bread. I'm doing everything right. This Whole30 isn't going to do anything for me because I don't eat that much now. I am eating so much food on the Whole30 plan that I feel like every week I'm going to gain weight. I'm like, this is the week I gain weight because I'm full. I've got more energy. I'm feeling great. What? I'm still losing weight? What? I am a believer. But when you take that good, hard, long look at yourself, you have to ask, why do you overeat in the first place? Because it tastes good? How many overeat because it tastes good? Well, yeah, it tastes good, yeah. How about because you're bored? You see, I've never ate because I was bored. That's not one of mine. Stress? Oh, yeah. Oh, I will give you a habit. Habit's another one, too. But you got to take a good hard look at this, and you have to make a plan. I have said this on your sheets. I'm like, plan, goals, and people, they look and go, Evelyn has wrote plan and goals on my sheet for years. I wonder what that means. It means you got to have a plan, and you got to have some goals. It's pretty simple. Here's a plan. Eat less, move more, pray. Whoa. Here's a goal, 5 pounds. Pick a goal, any goal. Then you get it. You can say, I just kicked butt. I lost 5 pounds and I said I was. You can trade snacking for saying the Psalms, self-reflection, and prayer. Prayer works. Keep a food log. We do that, but some of your food logs are bad. And during Lent, I asked God, what can I do for the Pray It Offers that I haven't done before? And you know what God whispered in my ear? Be harder on their food logs, Ellen. Because some of those food logs are bogus. That's what God said. God said those food logs are not detailed. Never give up. My favorite quote, Winston Churchill, never, ever, ever, ever give up. Because what happens when you give up? You go up. I have never, maybe one person who quit the group, who did well on her own. I'm not talking about people who successfully completed it. I mean quit early. Make powerful decisions about yourself. Discover your food addictions. Guess what? On Whole30 you can eat nuts. Now, I'm very good at like measuring out my nuts and stuff, but on Easter, you know, when everyone's having their Cadbury eggs and everything, I said, you know, I've been really good. I think I'll just have a little more nuts. And then the next thing you know, my face was buried in the can. There was salt on my shirt, nuts in my hair. I was like, Bob, I think I have a problem with nuts. So believe me, I don't want you to think I'm standing up here going, I'm so perfect. I have a problem with nuts. And I said to Bob, I know you love me and I know you enable me, but let's not have any more nuts around. So, the thing is, you have a party with nuts, and then you put them away and get back on the saddle. I'm going to stop right there, Bobby.